Hi, and welcome to this week's Tarot Talk. My name is Auri Solares, and we're going to be talking about the week of April the 27th through to May 3rd. And we start off the week with a really wonderful, super lovely Taurus new moon. This new moon would, under maybe any other circumstance, be incredibly nurturing and lovely and stabilizing and grounding. It still has that energy to it. However, it is happening in a square to Mars in Leo and Pluto in Aquarium, meaning that Mars and Pluto are still in that opposition. That current of energy is still very much alive. So whilst this new moon does bring in these themes of what is our center of gravity, what is our stability, what is it that we find sensual pleasure and delight in, it's being very much challenged by these super headstrong, unyielding, pretty brutal forces. Mars and Leo and Pluto and Aquario don't play, and they're in a standoff right now. Luna in Taurus is really just trying to relax. She's just trying to be in her exaltation and enjoy this present moment, but it is not an energy that she can run away from with these Mars-Pluto sort of themes coming to play. What does that mean? This new moon might encourage you to dig a little deeper, if you will, keeping in this earth sort of language for Tauro. Dig a little deeper in what it is that you can really ground in amidst a time when there is a lot of tension in the air. There's a lot that's being fought for. We are all becoming radicalized through our day-to-day life. If you have been maybe just sort of kind of paying attention to what's happening in the world but not really sitting with it, or maybe you just don't have the nervous system capacity, it's something that's starting to really be felt by you or by people around you in this moment. It's no longer something that anyone can afford to say, I'll think about this tomorrow, I'll think about it another day, because everything is intersected, everything is interwoven, and the catastrophe and the monstrosity that is taking place in Palestine, in the border, within the United States, you name it, in Yemen, in Sudan, in Congo, seems like it's a world away. It's going to absolutely be felt in your life. And I speak about this new moon in this way because for me, there's no other way to talk about it. I'm not going to pretend that this is just going to be like, oh, it's a little bit of friction between power plays and dynamics, like absolutely that, but let's just get so real here. This new moon is sitting with those themes. We are being invited to really sit with the themes that are happening all around and bring them home and say, how can I hold both? How can I hold myself, and how can I hold these conversations, these events that are very much impacting the planet that I live on and my communities, and the communities that are still very much our own communities because we're all connected, even if they're across seas or across country. So that's the new moon. And so this is a new moon where you can absolutely plant seeds that maybe revolve around these themes of resilience, of endurance, of establishing a solid foundation for yourself, so that when things like this get kicked up, you can come back home to yourself and you know how to take care of yourself and how to take care of others. This Pluto-Mars aspect is going to start to lessen as the days go by, because its exact moment was on Saturday the 26th. However, it is a charge that's going to be in the air for the rest of 2025. I think that if you're watching this video, you're probably keeping track of the energies that are around us for the present and into the future. So let this new moon be an invitation for you to set a whole new standard for yourself of how you take care of yourself, how you engage in ritual and in ceremony and interweave and absolutely call in your magic. The way that you practice magic is very different from the way that someone else might practice magic. You don't have to have it look like someone else's ceremony or someone else's ritual, but the more that you can incorporate working with the goddess, these earth energies, the more that no matter what's happening out in the world, you can resource into yourself. You won't be as shaken. And if you do get shaken up, you can replenish yourself a lot faster than if you didn't have this support. It's an invaluable tool. It is happening at 7 degrees. So if you have any personal planets within 7 degrees of Tauro or any of the other fixed signs, just pay attention to what happens. This new moon might be speaking a lot more closely to you and your chart. Wednesday, the 30th of April, Venus leaves her exaltation and enters Aries again. She's still in shadow. She is slowly but surely working her way out of her shadow degrees. Venus in Aries is technically in her fall. It's not an ideal place for Venus to be in, but don't get it twisted. Venus can do some pretty cool shit here. She's bold, she's daring, she is a lot more forthcoming, sort of hot, sensual aggression takes on in Venusian themes and can be very fun to play with. So now that Mars is in Leo as well, during these early degrees of Venus, it's going to be making that trine to Mars, receiving a little bit of support here. You might feel a little bit more cutting edge in the way that you present yourself. Maybe something within your finances is taking on a bit of a heated moment. And I do just want to say the exact moment isn't here yet, but Venus is going to very soon make an exact conjunction with Neptune in Aries. She's basically in this the moment that she enters back into Aries. And so there is a little bit of nebulousness, a little bit of, even dare I say, confusion here. So just be mindful of potentially getting into heated arguments. Themes around women and queer folk and sexuality get into heated debates, or there's an argument surrounding this. We all know what's happening right now in this country, and themes of identity and orientation and rights for women and queer people and trans people are very much being talked about in this very combative way. That could also be another facet to this transit, to Venus returning into Aries. But I also see Venus as the beautiful warrior as well. So there's a lot that we can play with if we dare venture beyond the conventional and the accepted ways to present ourselves. And Venus, again, is not just aesthetics, not just beauty, but also finances and anything dealing with maybe like money and goods or treasures. So Venus here isn't afraid to cut anything that inhibits her. Thursday, May 1st, we have the North Node making a sextile to Uranus and Tauro. So here we can expect that there's going to be disruptions and shakeups in our path. But think of it as maybe something was already out of place. I'm going to use the spine as an example. Maybe your back just felt like kind of locked and you just shook it up, or like you popped it and it corrected things into place. That's sort of what this feels like, except that instead of your spine, unless it's happening in your first house, in which case you might have Pisces rising or Taurus rising, but think of Uranus aspecting the North Node as something getting shaken up to further align us into our path. It's also unconventional, it's disruptive, it almost is a surprise, but the end result ends up working out a lot better than whatever it is that we were doing beforehand. And who doesn't like surprise, especially in a moment in time when there's a lot in the external world that might feel heavy? We can use the surprises that are happening in our day-to-day as moments of magic and portals into our own inner power and our capacity to be adaptable. Friday, May 2nd, we have Mars in Leo exiting shadow. Mars is ready to go full steam ahead. We are officially done with the Mars retrograde story. Now, because Mars is still in Leo, there might just be a bit more like of an advancement or continuation in what the story was, but we're not reviewing or repeating anything anymore. Anything that happens here on out within the Leo sector of your chart is brand new information, brand new discovery. Still the same tone. We're in the same book here, but it's new chapters. We don't have to go back and reread a few. It's happening at 6 degrees. Mind you, Taurus new moon happened at 7 degrees. So again, fixed signs, if you have sun, rising, moon, or any other personal planets within 6 to 7 degrees of Tauro, Leo, Scorpio, Aquario, something in your chart is really getting lit up this week for you to start something new and take action on, which is really exciting. Take advantage of this momentum because it's a level of liberation that we haven't had quite this level of access to for months, since Mars has been in this retrograde limbo. Last but not least, I already touched on this. Later on Friday, Venus in Aries will conjoin Neptune in Aries. There's this sort of element of fantasy and beauty merging. There is this etheric, dreamy quality that's almost in a raw form. I'm thinking, Aries is very primal, it's very raw, it's very in its capacity to be aggressive towards what it desires and wants. And it's almost like putting you under a little bit of a spell here. I think this is really lovely energy to create something with, or to go out and have fun with. Maybe, flirt with someone that you like, flirt with everybody actually. And yeah, anything that you want to start that is creative or pleasurable, I say go for it. It's maybe not the most ideal for making serious decisions around finances or love, but also Neptune has this quality of just kind of sweeping you off of your feet. So don't be too hard on yourself if you do find that the day just kind of takes you, and that's fun in and of itself as well. So again, it's a dreamy influence, and it's really hot is another thing. It has this like super hot energy to it. This is a really interesting week. It feels like it kind of is jumping all over the place, but I think that with this Tauro new moon, we really are getting the opportunity to set new seeds, especially after the super serious, tense week that we had previously. Okay. I'm going to draw a card to just support us in whatever it is that we most need to know for this week. Just as a little extra dose of magic and empowerment. As always, I invite you to close your eyes, plant your feet on the earth, and take some deep breaths with me. Okay. We have the sun. And the sun is actually working a little bit behind the scenes throughout this week. I mean, what's a new moon if not the conjunction of the moon and the sun? And the sun is obscured, but it's what is allowing for us to still have this sort of energy, this vibrancy throughout the week that is still very sensual and grounded and pleasure focused. So that's Tauro. With Venus in Aries and Neptune in Aries, Aries is the sun's exaltation point. The sun rejoices here. What this card is really hinting at here is really lean into your light, lean into your essence, lean into your authenticity unapologetically. In the face of a time where personal identity is such a ginormous threat to outdated systems, lean into that heavy, because no one can take that away from you. And also, radiating and shining your light takes a tremendous amount of courage and bravery. Do something that's out of your comfort zone if it means that you're having fun and exploring a new element of yourself. Explore what it is that makes your eyes light up. Explore what it is that makes you feel like you are the sun. And there's a lot of change and shakeups happening this week. It feels like we're getting some green lights here to move forward and be more daring and bold. And I think that the sun card kind of supports that as well, saying, yeah, go for it. Why not? That's super sweet. There's an element of innocence here. So maybe calling into question, what is it that we want to protect? How connected are we to our own innocence, to our own creative capacity that we once had when we were children? And to draw from that place whenever life begins to feel gray or stuck or stagnant. You'd be surprised how many treasures are awaiting you if you reconnect with these childlike etheric qualities within yourself, which everybody has, always. It's just a matter of remembrance. So that's the week. That's the reading. Thank you for spending time with me. I'm sending you so much magia, mucho amor, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.